Well, good afternoon. Hey, before we get into the weather broadcast, I just want to make sure that I wish anybody that's watching this, of course, my clients, and just those of you that believe in Novak weather, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas as the holiday season approaches. Um, we'll be talking a lot probably between now and Christmas Day because a lot's going on. But again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and have a great New Year. Um, as we get into this busy stretch and busy weather period. All right, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about trigger graph. I'm going to show you trigger graph. We're going to get into that today a little bit more to make sure that everybody knows what they're looking at when it comes to the trigger graph and show you how confident I am in snow for next week. And it is going to be shown within that trigger graph. And then we're also going to talk about some bipolar issues that the GFS computer model is having, and that has caused some anxiety with weather forecasters. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that because it's a really interesting situation that developed with the GFS computer model and last night's run. But anyway, let's get into the trigger graph real quickly here so that I can show you just what you're looking at. I'm pretty sure that everybody kind of knows what's going on with this trigger graph, and I know everybody looks at these bars because they're so important, and that is true. These bars are extremely important because it tells you how much snow, or at least how much snow we could get, the potential of an upcoming storm system, and then, of course, my confidence level. But I also want you to take a look at this wet snow zone because I think sometimes this is a little bit confusing, this wet snow zone here and then compared to this dry snow zone here. Now, whenever you see the temperatures, whether it be the low temperature line or the high temperature line, whenever you see that temperature line or those temperature lines in one of these zones, either the wet snow zone or the dry snow zone, that tells you what type of snow consistency I'm going to be expecting with a storm system. A wet, heavy, concrete-like consistency or a dry, fluffy, easy to move around type snow. Now, for instance, with this storm system that we're expecting next week, look how the low temperature line, 24 degrees, 26 degrees, 28 degrees, and the high temperature line, which is up in the upper 20s and lower 30s, both of those temperatures are located in the wet snow zone. So we can assume that if it snows next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's going to likely be a wet, heavy, concrete-like consistency to the snow. So hopefully that at least explains those zones a little bit better for you. Now, of course, if this low temperature or high temperature line were to drop down into this dry zone, which is at 10 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, the actual air temperature, then we get into a much more dry, fluffy snow. Okay, so of course, if you have questions on this, let me know. But anyway, that's the way it works. You want to see where these temperature lines, the low temperature and the high temperature lines are located, and that'll tell you the types of snow that I'm expecting from a consistency standpoint. Now, of course, these bars, these are confidence level in either half-inch or 2-inch or 6-inch type snows that I'm expecting with a storm system. So, of course, as we look at Saturday, I'm not very confident at all in accumulating snow, but I am concerned about ice. I actually feel there's a pretty good opportunity for at least a little bit of ice on Saturday, especially in the morning. And then look at this. As we get into late Wednesday, Thursday, and then into Friday, I mean, it's rare that I'm this confident this far out in a storm system, but I definitely am convinced right now, at least, even though it's 5 days out, I'm convinced that a storm system, and a big one, is going to affect the upper Midwest. And that means trouble for southern Minnesota, including the Twin Cities, Eau Claire, Rochester, and surrounding areas. So, but let's now get into the bipolar aspects now of the GFS computer model. And also, we're going to go through just a little bit of model guidance too this afternoon, just so that you see that we still are expecting a significant storm system. Now, here's what I mean by bipolar with the GFS computer model. These are the jet stream winds, the winds at 25 to 35,000 feet in our atmosphere. These are steering winds, and we always look at the jet stream because storm systems usually develop where jet streaks are located within our jet stream. And you can see these jet streaks now on Thursday morning. Now keep in mind, this is Thursday morning, so yesterday morning's GFS computer model run. And you can see how the jet stream is well positioned to create a storm system over the upper Midwest. Now, let's switch to last night's run. And hopefully you find this interesting. Now, look how the jet streak here has shifted just a little bit west into Missouri, but still we have this nice trough over the central and northern portion of the United States with a strong jet streak near and just north of Minnesota. And then now let's take a look at the latest run from this morning and see if that jet stream has changed at all. And you can see it has changed very little. So the jet stream pattern is conducive for a major winter storm to develop, if you were to believe the GFS computer model, from the last 3 runs. Again, last night, this morning, and then yesterday morning's runs. Now, take a look at when we go to the snow totals from the GFS computer models, from the GFS computer model run, and you're going to see what I mean by bipolar. One moment, please. And this caught everybody, by the way, off guard. And we're going to go to snow totals predicted for Friday morning. Now, this is the current GFS computer model run, okay, from this morning. And look how it's got the bullseye of snow basically over the southern 2/3 of Minnesota into northern Wisconsin. Now, let's go to yesterday morning's run. And you can see that snow band, very heavy, heavy snow band in excess of a foot over about the same location. Now, this is what threw everybody for a loop. Let's look at last night's GFS computer model guidance. Can you believe this? It predicted basically no snow over southern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin by next Friday. That's crazy. Again, no snow on last night's run. Let's go to this morning's run. Well, 17 inches of snow in the Twin Cities on this morning's run. And then let's go to yesterday morning's run. Again, another 13, 14, 15 inches of snow yesterday morning's run. So really what happened is that the GFS became bipolar last night. Now, the National Weather Service and most forecasters that understand model guidance realize that you got to take that with a grain of salt. One model run guidance is not the Bible here, and we need to take it with a grain of salt. And we figured that was an anomaly last night, and sure enough, it looks like that it is an anomaly because the jet stream, at least looking at the jet stream, and now this is the GFS computer model run again. Look how beautiful this storm system is looking as we get into Thursday and then into Friday morning before it finally pushes off on Friday morning. This is a classic jet stream structure for a major winter storm. In fact, this would be a blizzard. If this jet stream structure holds in place as we go into next week, there's no reason that we shouldn't expect a blizzard over the upper Midwest, or at least over portions of the upper Midwest as we get into Thursday and Friday, because this is a beautiful looking jet structure from this morning's GFS computer model guidance. And then as we look at the temperatures in the lower layers of our atmosphere, as we get into Wednesday and Thursday morning, of course, this is the red flag for us, is how much warm air is going to get drawn north into this storm system. And you can see the 0 degrees Celsius line or 32 Fahrenheit line gets dangerously close to the Eau Claire, Minneapolis, to the I-94 corridor as we get into Thursday morning and afternoon. So there is the potential for ice with this storm, maybe even just plain old liquid precipitation. And we'll have to see how this storm evolves as we go through the weekend and next week. But no doubt about it, a significant storm system, a major winter storm, seems to be in the offering as we get in to next Thursday and Friday of next week. One other model guidance I wanted to show you is the European computer model guidance. So let's just go to it right now and see where it's got that storm system located. And we're going to zoom in here. One moment. We'll zoom in to the United States. And here we go. And here's the low pressure center now for Friday morning. It's got it located almost directly overhead of Rochester, Minnesota. So in theory, that would put the heaviest band of snow from southwestern Minnesota to the northeast into northwestern Wisconsin. So basically from Sioux Falls, South Dakota to St. Cloud to Duluth, and that would include the Twin Cities metro. Okay, if this storm system were to track like this, again, this would be a track from north central Kansas, northeast to near Rochester, Minnesota, then to Wausau, Wisconsin. So that's a classic storm track for heavy snow over much of South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, and northwestern Wisconsin. And I think that that is probably what we need to look forward to as we head into later next week. So with that, again, I hope everybody has a great holiday season. Take care. We'll be updating you a lot this weekend and next week with this storm system. Bye-bye.